disappearance, it was as if they caught her in a glue trap at Saks Fifth Avenue and dragged her there.
And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
This whole event, his whole platform is immigrants are dangerous. Immigrants are killing our country. We have to stop the immigrants. And now, from Slovenia, please say hello to our former First Lady Melania Trump.
Picture this. It's 3 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. The only sounds are the gentle Florida breeze and the furious tapping of tiny fingers on a smartphone. Our hero, Donald Trump, is on a mission to prove his love for Melania. But wait, plot twist. His grand romantic gesture, a blurry selfie, and some truly cringeworthy poetry. Move over, Shakespeare. There's a new wordsmith in town, and he's got the best words, folks. The best. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. It is imperative that everyone fasten their seatbelts because the Comedy Kings are going to take the stage and roast the former First Lady like a Thanksgiving turkey this very moment.
Where is Melania? Here to tell us where is Melania, former First Lady Melania Trump, everybody. Hello. Hello, hello, Madam First Lady.
Hello, Stephen. And hello, Chicago, the greatest city in the world. What is this thing she does where she opens her face and it goes ha 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 ha?
It's called laughter. It's called laughter, ma'am.
In the dynamic late-night comedy team consisting of Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, Melania Trump became the personal punchline for the team. The sight was absolutely breathtaking, if I may say so myself. Kimmel kicked things off with a cheeky remark that had everyone in the audience in fits of laughter. Melania is known for her famous "get me out of here" expression, which she always wears when she is within 50 feet of her husband. He brought this up. One could compare it to witnessing someone attempting to escape a bad date, with the exception that the date represents her entire life. How awful. A man who is never one to be outdone, Colbert immediately jumped in. The Trumps' marriage was compared to an oddball sitcom that was set in the White House, according to him. Am I able to do that? The Real Housewife of Mar-a-Lago, or perhaps something like I Love Lawsuit. The crowd was gobbling it up like comedy caviar as it was being presented to them. Nevertheless, Kimmel had not yet completed his work. He made a joke about how the only circle that can fit on Trump's finger is his wedding ring, and he went so far as to say that it was hilarious. Have you really taken a look at those sweet little hands? There is a strong impression that he is wearing bracelets that are made of onion ring.
Okay, this is very different from the RNC, where we heard nothing and saw very little of former First Lady Melania Trump. In fact, her complete absence from the campaign trail has a lot of people wondering.
Oh, Stephen, I am trying to uncover the secrets behind the Kamala phenomenon. Like her plot to attract voters by making them, what is this word, happy?
Is that the Democratic convention behind you?
What? No. What? No. Yes.
What? Wait.
Yes.
It is? Why are you there?
He does not howl as loudly as the crowd does when he sees a McDonald's sign, but he does howl just as loudly. Every single one of these two comedy giants' jokes was even more sickening than the one that came before it. One could say that it was very similar to watching a roast battle, with the exception that they were roasting an entire dysfunctional presidency rather than just one individual. Despite the fact that they were enjoying every minute of it, the audience laughed more than Trump does at his own jokes. And I use the term jokes in a fairly loose sense. Kimmel and Colbert were completely unaware that they were setting off a chain reaction in Trump's way of thinking. The laughter that had been coming from the studio began to subside, and you could almost hear the gears grinding in that orange head of his. It seemed as though the ghost of Kofifi's past had taken possession of his thumbs to the point where they began to twitch. Folks, you are aware that a storm on Twitter was on the horizon just a moment ago. Do you ever find yourself wondering what happens on social media when a former president loses his cool? To put it simply, we are going to find out. Trump's thumbs delivered, and boy, did they deliver when they were itching for a fight. The beginning of everything happened at the stroke of midnight. Trump was alert and ready to defend his marriage, while the majority of us were wishing for a world free of Twitter drama. Trump was prepared to defend his marriage. Is this the first tweet he used? Because there is no better way to convey the message, "I am completely fine," than by yelling it into the air, "I am writing, I have the greatest marriage," in all capital letters. On the other hand, our orange companion was just getting started. At 2 in the morning, he was bragging about the routine he followed to prepare breakfast. The tweet that he sent out, which read, "Every morning we eat breakfast together." In the end, what could be a more fitting way to demonstrate the joys of marriage than by sharing cereal? It is now possible for me to picture Melania Trump and Donald Trump eating their frosted flakes in silence while avoiding making eye contact with one another. At a time when we believed that things could not possibly get any better, 3 o'clock in the morning arrived. The hazy selfie that Trump took of himself and Melania was a tremendous blessing. What is the caption? "Fake news can't handle our love." Furthermore, it appears that the camera on his phone was unable to do so. It seemed as though it had been taken with a potato that had been exposed to the sun for an excessive amount of time. There is, however, more to come. It is abundantly clear that Trump is a literary genius because he compared his marriage to Romeo and Juliet. He wrote on the social media platform, "Me and Melania are like Romeo and Juliet, only better because we're both still alive." Absolutely, because the phrase healthy relationship is more aptly described by a tragedy in which both of the main characters are killed off than by anything else. That story's conclusion might have been something that someone else should have shared with him. Even Trump's most devoted supporters started to demonstrate signs of concern. One courageous individual expressed their sentiments by saying, "Mr. President, we love you, but maybe lay off the late night tweeting. When the people who follow you on social media tell you to stop talking on the phone, you know that something is wrong. Even though the brain freeze is a wonderful sensation, you are aware that you ought to pay attention to your mother when she advises you to refrain from eating ice cream straight from the tub." As soon as morning arrived, it seemed as though Trump's Twitter feed had gone completely insane with a box of crayons. It was a jumble of puzzling pictures, statements written in all capital letters, and literary allusions that were questionable. The members of his public relations team must have been grabbing the strongest coffee in the White House in an effort to make 3 a.m. love declarations sound like they were coming from the Obama administration. Trump's rant on Twitter turned into a wellspring of comedic material on the internet. The more he tweeted about his marriage, the more people began to question whether or not he was married. It is like watching a car crash in slow motion, except instead of a car, Trump's dignity colliding with a wall of skepticism is like watching a car crash like that. The Republicans even started making jokes about how important it would be to have a button that would mute the president. Donnie Diapers is unable to take a deep breath and relax. However, the most unfortunate aspect is that Trump's efforts to demonstrate his marital bliss were unsuccessful and resulted in a total failure. Not only did his public image suffer, but his approval ratings also fell at a faster rate. It would appear that the orange turd has forgotten the first rule of holes, which is to stop digging when you do find yourself in a hole. On the other hand, he simply continued tweeting, further immersing himself in a chasm of public ridicule. A grumpy person. It would appear that Trumpy has learned an important lesson. When you are unable to handle the heat, you should avoid the Twitter kitchen. A better option would be to hire someone to hide your phone after 9 o'clock at night. It is possible that he will rethink his decision to start a Twitter feud with late night comedians the next available opportunity. On the other hand, who are we kidding? We are discussing Trump at this very moment.